Hey guys, here I am doing Godspot. I'm sitting in Kolhapur in my apartment in India. I'm having a great time meeting people, eating the food. This is a view outside my room. It's beautiful out there today. Sun's shining. It's not as hot as it could be, about 28 Celsius. The problem is the humidity is about 38%, which means I'm hot and sweaty. Anyway, let's talk about Godspot. I want to talk to you about protecting the mind. Okay, it says in Proverbs 4, 23 through 27, more than anything, guard and protect your mind, for out of it flows life. Have nothing to do with a corrupt mouth. Keep devious lips from you, and focus your eyes straight ahead. Keep your gaze on what is in front of you. Watch your feet on the way, and all your paths will be secure. Your brain is constantly and consistently being influenced by the world around you, by the things you listen to and the things you read. And what can happen, it can corrupt your cognitive function, and negatively, it can affect your mental health and decision making. And what can happen, it become overstimulated by the things that we allow in our ears and the things that we read. I love what one man said. He said, I'm letting go of the thoughts that do not make me strong. I think that's quite powerful. So there's a number of things that corrupt us in the way we think. One of these is excessive screen time. Now, I don't know about you, but my devices are always reporting at the end of the week how much time I spend on a screen. And sometimes I'm surprised. I've spent too much time. And sometimes it can go more than an hour or two. I know when I'm away, I use my devices a lot, so it can get up to 4 hours. And that's a lot of wasted time, because there's not always important things you're looking at, and you get caught up in things. And your screen time, the more it gets, the worse it can be. Have you ever visited somebody? I remember visiting a man in a hospital. I was ministering to him, talking to him, and just encouraging him. But the whole time he was glued to the TV. It was like I wasn't there. It was just so difficult to get his attention. And you see it everywhere. You go to restaurants, whole families are sitting there. What are they doing? They're not talking to each other. They're on their screens. They're looking at their devices. And it can really affect the way you think. It can overstimulate your brain. And then you wonder why you can't focus and pay attention to what's really going on around you. Number two, social media overuse. Well, this goes without saying. Social media platforms are designed in such a way they are addictive. And overuse can lead to mental health like anxiety, depression, and even a low self-esteem. And what can happen, you are constantly comparing yourself to other people. And many times this can trigger negative emotions. And while the instant gratification from likes and comments is very addictive, it's not good for you. It really isn't good for you, because it just affects your brain and brings you down. And it's really important, I think, at times to disconnect from social media overuse. Number three is chronic stress. Well, overuse of the screen, overuse of social media is going to cause chronic stress. And chronic stress will affect your mental health. And what can happen, you become very highly anxious. You can also become very depressed, and you can become easily triggered, which means you end up with a low EQ, which isn't good for you. Okay, number four, poor diet. Well, you are what you eat. And it's the same with your brain. What you listen to on a regular diet and what you watch on a regular diet is going to affect your health. So there are things that you eat normally, such as foods and sugars that are very unhealthy. I know my doctor, he said I need to cut back on my sugar. And I said, well, you first. Anyway, I've had to cut back. I'm trying to anyway. It's very hard. But poor diet can really affect the way you think. And if your body isn't functioning correctly, it'll slow down the thinking process. Number five, lack of sleep. Lack of sleep is a big issue. I remember I went away a number of years ago to Timor, and I was staying in an apartment, and up and down that hallway, there was a lot of young families. The problem was they had children, and the hallways were echoey. And what would happen, there were children who couldn't sleep at night, and so they would wait till 5 a.m. running up and down the hallway. And I remember on the fourth day, my wife rang me to see how I'm doing. And I said, fine. I'm talking afterwards. She says, are you okay? I said, well, what do you mean am I okay? She says, you don't sound yourself. So I don't know what I was saying or how I was saying it, but she picked up that there was something wrong. And what it was a lack of sleep. It was messing with my head. It sounded like I was losing it. And it was only when I recognized what I needed to do was get some real decent sleep that I was able to overcome it. So that can really corrupt the way you think. Substance abuse, alcohol, drugs, excessive amounts will corrupt brain function, and alcohol and drugs can alter neurotransmitter systems in our brain, and it affects our decision making and our cognitive function as well. And it can, if you do this long term, it can really impact you and even the way you talk to people. Number 7. And number 7 is the final one, negative thinking patterns. Engaging in persistent negative thinking negatively does affect the brain. And studies have shown that chronic thought patterns can alter brain structures, particularly those involved in getting emotions and memory. And what can happen, it can lead to an increased risk of depression and anxiety, because we're just always thinking the worst in every possible situation. I hope today this has really helped you, but remember this quote. If you remember nothing else what I said today, that is, I'm letting go of the thoughts that make me weak. All I can say is greetings and namaste from India, Kolhapur. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.